So if you're thinking of moving to Thailand, then this is the video for you. Since I've lived in Thailand for, well, over a year now, I figured I'd have some insights for you guys that want to move out here. So today I'm going to cover the basics of moving out to Thailand, starting with... Because don't think you can do what most tourists have seemed to do here in the past, and go without any visa and live here on a tourist visa, border runs, or just hoping to meet nice immigration officers. Because that's no longer an option. You'll need to get the right visa to stay here in Thailand, with either re-entries or checking in with immigration every 3 months, because not all visas allow you to stay in here for the full year. But as for what visas to get, there's a few options. There's tourist visas, education visas, DTV, which is the Destination Thailand visa for remote workers and digital nomads, retirement visa, and other visas for high-income earners and professionals. Essentially, if you want to play pay-to-win IRL, then they're the ones for you. And choosing the right visa to live in Thailand depends on your purpose, length of stay, personal circumstances, and whether you're relocating for work, retirement, study, or long-term travel. Each visa category has specific requirements, financial thresholds, and renewal conditions. So depending on your reason and purpose, we'll decide what visa options are even available for you. And then you'll just have to make sure to meet the requirements and pay for the visa itself. So remember that when you're budgeting out your dream. But obviously, if you want a more in-depth overview on the topics in today's video, on visas, rent, food and bills, then those of you who follow my channel already know I have my own full move to Thailand guide linked in the description below. That includes the prices of each visa and everything else you'd want to know before you move, including a move to Thailand blueprint. But enough of that, let's move on to the next section. Now let's talk about rent, because depending on where you'll live will change the rent. Because if you want a simple condo close to the city centre, then you can find condos for around or even less than $200 a month. But if you want to live by the beach, have a nice balcony view, a bigger condo than just a small studio, or if you want anything other than the cheapest option available, then it's going to cost you a little bit more. I mean, my condo, for example, a 1-bedroom sea view close to the beach is $370 a month. And that's on the expensive side when you compare to everything else out here. I mean, if I go a couple buildings back, which is still quite close to the beach, it's almost half the price. But obviously it depends where in Thailand, but there's loads of deals out here for long-term condos. And the way to get a best price is to get a 12-month contract, because if you're paying monthly at a hotel or on Airbnb or booking.com, then you'll be paying a higher price. And if it's peak season, then you'll definitely be paying even more than that. Also, don't think about getting a condo beforehand. It's best to check it out yourself, make sure you're happy with it, because you'll probably be living there for a year. I mean, when I first came out here, I booked a hotel for one night, and then the next day I had a couple viewings set up. And then once I signed my contract, I was moving in straight away. If you speak to property agents beforehand, it's helpful to schedule some viewings, but just know the property agents themselves won't really entertain you until you're in Thailand, or at least close to the date of your flight anyway. I imagine they get messed around enough. Now on to food. Because depending on what food you will eat will change the price. Because if you want any Western dishes or Western food, it will cost more than the local food options. But that should be obvious enough. The local street food and the food markets are your best value for money out here, especially if you don't want to cook. And honestly, sometimes it's cheaper than actually cooking yourself. But what I do myself is a mix really, of cooking for myself in my condo most of the day, and then street food or the food market later in the day. For my weekly shop, I use Macro, which has everything, and you can also get delivery for free, which is what I do, because it saves money on getting a taxi there and back each trip. So if you do what I do in a combination of cooking for yourself until dinner time and then you go to the food market, then your monthly food cost would be roughly $250 to $300 a month, I'd say. On the higher end anyway. And if you just refuse to cook at all, then you're looking at more $300 to $400, which would be more realistic, especially if you go to any proper restaurants or order any Western dishes, because of course, that costs more. And yes, it is still cheaper in the West, but it's still more than the average prices of the local meals out here. So keep that in mind. And I am also including a mango smoothie addiction in that budget. I mean, the smoothies here are hard to ignore every day, especially when you have to walk past the stalls all the time. It's almost guaranteed to become an addiction, I'm afraid. And finally onto bills. And I'm talking about the bills that you have to pay when you're out here, such as the water, electricity, Wi-Fi, drinking water, mobile data, and transportation. The transportation could be Bolts, taxis, Songtails, buses, or anything really. But I mostly walk, and I imagine you will too for the most part. But if you plan on taking a taxi everywhere, moving around a lot, then it will cost you more than what I'm going to say, so bear that in mind. And there'll probably be more bills than that, especially if you have a gym membership, for example, but maybe at your condo you get a free gym, so you don't have to pay for that, as an example. But as for the average on the basic bills, I'd say you'd be paying between $80 to $100, depending mostly on the AC usage for the electricity bill. That's the biggest factor really in the price. If you use mostly a fan, that'll get the bill a bit cheaper and keep it down. And also, depending on the condominium building itself, depends on whether you pay the government rate directly or a higher marked up rate set by the building management or the landlord. I didn't know this before I moved, but I got lucky and it seemed to have a decent fixed one because my bills are pretty cheap when compared to other people that live here. And I use one of my ACs in my condo every day, all the time I'm here. I mean, it's needed. And although people online love to brag about spending $500 a month out here in Thailand, and maybe that is possible if you're extremely frugal, but let's be honest, most of us want to actually enjoy our lives and do the things we want to do. The reality is, at least in my opinion, you can live a simple life here for $750 to $800 a month, and anything close to $1,000 a month will give you a decent balanced life with more entertainment, good food, good condo, with a view in a decent location, either a city high-rise or close to the beach. And also I'd say if you're a drinker, then drinking and partying out here, again, you'll struggle to budget on that, and close to the $1,000 a month would probably be my minimum, really, for my advice for a monthly budget if you're into all of that. But again, it all depends what you spend your money on. And that covers it for the 4 basics of moving to Thailand in visa, rent, food and bills. So hopefully that helps you guys understand more about living in Thailand. And again, if you want a step-by-step guide, check out the link in the description below. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.